Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's a channel where we find the true seek understanding and be the light. It's your boy, Big Blue. And this is interesting, y'all. This is interesting. So, as you guys know, I did a video recently in regards to Den of Kings. I always want to say Den of Lions or Lion Kings. I don't know. But it's called Den of Kings. Kirk Franklin has this podcast show, Den of Kings, where he has men, and it seems like majority of it's just going to be black men that has, some type of credibility, some type of celebrity status and stuff like that, and just come and just eat and have conversations. Honestly, it doesn't seem like the worst time. The food that they be having does look extremely good, especially this lemonade that I'm looking at right now. It's making my mouth water a little bit. But anyways, so for this interview kind of gathering that he has The Game, who's a rapper, Matt Barnes, who's a basketball player, retired basketball player. Now he's a sports podcaster. Deon Cole, who is he's an actor, comedian. You've seen him. He's the guy that's on the Old Spice commercials, the recent Old Spice commercials with the other lady. I forget what her name is. Then you have Big Boy, who is big on the radio stations. He has his radio stations out in California, if I believe. I thought New York too, but I could be wrong. And you have Snoop Doggy Dogg. Everybody knows Snoop Doggy Dogg. You know who Snoop Doggy Dogg is. All right. So this interview, I keep saying interview, this gathering is in regards to manhood. They talk about manhood all throughout this video, and a lot of the stuff is pretty profound, pretty, good information, just talking about what it means to be a man and, trying to raise up your family as a man and what you were taught being a man meant growing up and such, and seeing how the generation that these guys are in, it's a different generation than, my generation, let's say, because me being 33, I grew up a little differently than some of the stuff I can resonate with, but then there's other stuff I couldn't. One, because I'm Haitian, not American, and two, because these guys are older than me. It's a different generation. These guys are 40 plus. You know what I'm saying? So I was going through this whole thing, and it's interesting because it wasn't until the very end of the interview that actually caught my attention on a lot of stuff. Well, not a lot of stuff, just a few couple points that was brought up. There was other points that was like, it's just a whole bunch of interesting points. So let's go ahead and bring up the scenes, and let me get to the point exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so starting off here, this is towards the end of the video. Kirk Franklin is literally just talking about, how it came together. Snoop Dogg had asked him, what made him bring this about, because he was thinking of doing something like this, but he never got around to it. And Kirk just did it. And he's just like, yo, what brought this up and stuff. And so Kirk is going on and explaining, and see the reaction to some of the guys.
No, but we just gonna pay for it our own and see what happens. And man, just by the kindness of God, he was super dope. And when I found out that y'all said yes, bro, it was like,
Kirk, ain't nobody gonna say no to you, brother.
And take a listen to everybody's response to this. Kirk, ain't nobody gonna say to you, brother. Let's see what he says afterwards.
I don't know. You are extension cord to the Lord.
That's what I'm saying, Kirk. You don't understand. Everybody feel like you and God. You got God's personal number and his little greater number.
I tell people, brother, you are our
God. This is me. It's Kirk.
You are our extension cord to the Lord, bro. Like we plugged in, but some of our extension, you're the extension cord. We plugged in. We plugged into you.
Well,
to get a little closer.
Well,
you are an extension to the Lord. You are closer to the Lord. So when we plug into the Lord, we plug into you, and then you're the one that gets us to the Lord. Ephesians 2:18 says, "For through him we both have access to the Father by one Spirit." We only get our access to God through Jesus, and only Jesus, not by man. Man can influence us. Man can spiritually guide us. Man can, give us some insight. Man can help, and we're supposed to do things together and use our gifts so that we can be closer to God. But nobody on this earth, except for the man that died and rose again, can get us, should be the extension to the Father. And that's not to say, sit here and talk about Big Boy, his belief and Snoop Dogg and his belief in one. I'm not saying you're trying to bring them down or anything like that, but it's just a matter of correction and thought process. Because once again, we've seen this time and time again when it comes to churches, when it comes to religions, we give these human figureheads this image that they are close to God. And that's not the case at all. That should never be the case. There's nowhere in the Bible that makes any man in this world be that close to God. Everybody has their own access to God. But the only extension that is going towards God is that we plug into is Jesus Christ. 1 Corinthians 3:4-7. And this is a time when Paul is rebuking believers that are elevating spiritual leaders. When one says, I follow Paul, and another, I follow Apollos, are you not mere human beings? So neither the one who plants nor the one who waters is anything, but only God. This goes to the same thing that I was literally just saying. I mean, the word says it plain and clear. And there's the thing that a lot of people get confused. They follow the church, they follow the pastor, they expect their leadership, they expect their guidance and everything to come from the pastor, and not like we're all humans. We're all humans. There is no other Moses. There is no other King David. There is no King Solomon. There's not going to be another Jesus. There's not going to be another Paul. There's not going to be another 12 apostles. We're all just human that had just been discipled, because that's what Jesus had commanded us to do, is go out and disciple, and those people disciple, and those people disciple, and all that stuff. But there's nobody that we should just be sitting here following and just digging into whatever it is that they have going on, whatever theology that they have going on, and take it as word. If it's not coming from the word itself, we should always keep that in mind. And even when you're going out and getting information from certain pastors, you like this pastor's theology or the way he looks at this, specific verse of scripture and whatnot. You got to remember that he is just a pastor. And one thing that I've come to realize, recently, and again, it's nothing against my new pastor. I mean, absolutely nothing against my new pastor, but I have to come in with the mindset that I'm here to gain the knowledge and wisdom about the word that I need for myself so that I can spiritually grow and thus be able to do the same with somebody else. I'm not going to sit here and come to him, just ask him a bunch of questions and just be in admiration and just in awe that I'm in his presence and he's giving me knowledge. No, I'm using that knowledge for myself so that I can go and get to a point where I can disciple people when people have questions or just concerns about certain things that's going on in the Bible or misconceptions. I can be able to regurgitate that information and provide it to them with a loving hand, of course. But I got to come with the mindset of I'm coming to you to gain information so that I can increase my spirit and increase my fruit, not because I'm coming to you because you are you and I'm just going to sit here and follow you all the rest of the days of my life. It's not how that goes. God will lead you and bring people into your midst so that you can learn what it is he needs you to learn. And then from that point, you go on to the next thing. And that's what God calls you to do. And then 1 Timothy 2:5, for there is one God and one mediator between God and mankind, the man Christ Jesus. Let us all remember how we get to heaven. Who is it that gives us our salvation? It is through believing in Christ Jesus that we get our salvation, not through man, not through no other mediators or, psychics or whatever the case may be. It's through Jesus Christ and him alone. And the gift of salvation is open to everybody. Everybody has that gift to salvation. And Kirk Franklin actually says something that I wish he would have expanded a little more on, but just the fact that it was brought up, I'm kind of glad that he kind of corrected. He could have. It was subtle, but it was there. Let's go ahead and see.
I want you to know everybody at the table got the same number I got. So he loved.
And that number he got, somebody had made the comment that Kirk Franklin has God's direct, contact, pretty much his, contact phone information and stuff like that, metaphorically, of course. And that's what he alluding to right here. Everybody has the same phone number, same direct line to God.
us and rocking with us all the same, and I'm always want people to know that, because I know how I can feel like sometimes people, it may seem like somebody else got a VIP hookup, man, but what I love about how dope God is, he don't say no to nobody.
Exactly.
Interesting stuff. The next part I want to bring up really quick is in regards to the game. So this is pretty much the end. And Kirk is just like, what is something that you can say to the guy that's watching this video and that thinks that their life is crap? He actually uses, the explicit word, which I'm not surprised that Kirk did, but that's essentially what he was saying. So what is it that all these guys say, all these successful black men saying to the guy that's just sitting down thinking that they're just, a nobody, and that, life is just crap and stuff like that. And the game says something interesting. There's a point about encouraging, but then there's another point when there's criticism, constructive criticism, and a call to action. And his call to action is to self-reflect. Let's go ahead, check it out.
I can take the lead on this and just say this. For anybody out there that's feeling like, the walls are closing in on them, or they feel like, the world treats me like shit, just look at the world. Look at the world. Look at what people are doing to each other outside. And so if you're not doing any of that or participating in any of that, just the tarnishing of the human's legacy, if you're not doing that, man, keep your head to the stars, man, because you're doing all right. Just to be able to wake up on this side of the dirt tomorrow on Tuesday that's the blessing. And so I said it a few times in this interview, and I'll say it again, man. Stay in the mirror longer than how you in the gym and you working out, and then your trainer tell you push through, don't stop until you can feel it. That's when the muscle gonna build. Stay in that mirror and talk to yourself. Holler at yourself for longer than me, because I ducked the man in the mirror for so long, because I don't want anybody telling me what I am and what I'm not, even when they're right. I don't want to look at that. I don't want to hear it, even from myself in the mirror. Some days I brush my teeth and I walk. You ever brush your teeth and walk through the house? Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So we all know. Mm-hmm. Brush your teeth in the mirror, man. Look straight at yourself and brush your teeth, man.
Always look in the mirror. Always self-evaluate. And it's so interesting. In my small group, in my Bible study group, we literally just read this chapter 2 weeks ago. And it's exactly what the game is saying. What he was saying before is the whole accountability thing. Individuals, especially guys, everybody, both genders, we'll look in the mirror and we'll see ourselves, and then we'll start to think, we'll start to reflect on ourselves. And then the second that it starts to get too tough, the second that we start to see stuff about ourselves that we don't like, we turn our way with the quickness. And he was talking about, the way that he be treating women, the way that he been treating women. Oh my gosh, they're women now. The way that he's been treating women. And like before, when he would get in his frivolous relationships, he would just go, smash and dash and all that stuff, and he didn't care. But now that he's getting older and he has time to reflect on, and when he reflects on his life, and then he starts to care, he starts to realize all the stuff that he's done, and how, it just is not something that he looks up towards. You know what I'm saying? And to him, when he looks in the mirror and he sees that stuff and he's thinking about it, he just looks away, so that, out of sight, out of mind type thing. And it says it here, literally, James 1:22-24. Anyone who hears the words but does not do it is like a man who looks at his face in the mirror and immediately forgets what he looks like. So in a sense, you look in your mirror, you see who you are. You know what you look like. You know what you've done. The things that you've done in your past. The things that still holds the scars that may be on your face, or the blemishes, or whatever nonsense that you've been going into. It shows when you look at yourself in the mirror. But in the second you turn away, you forget. And it's the same thing with man. When he looks at the word, he reads the word, and men are guilty of this. And again, both genders are guilty of this. Not just say men. But when it comes to being a man and following the word, if you're going to follow the word and you're going to read the word, then you need to be about the word. You need to be 100% about the word. And men will read the word, but then not do what it says, not do what we're commanded to do. But they'll have all the knowledge. They'll be able to spew out the verses here, that, in any which way. But are they kind to people? Do they have self-control? Do they have patience? Are they faithful? Do they love their brother? You know, all these things, and we will still do the opposite, do what our flesh wants, instead of having that self-control, and instead of remembering all the verses that we have remembered here. Anytime a situation comes up, we don't want to implement them. So in this sense, what he's talking about with accountability, look at yourself, and really look at yourself and see how you are living your life. Is it what the world is doing right now? All the craziness that's going on in the world right now, is that what I'm doing with my life? And if I am, got to do something about that. It starts with understanding who you are, where you are, and the situation that you're in, and the situation that you put yourself in. It starts with there. Once you've come to realization that you're in a spot, or you just living your life in a way that you don't want to, as a first step to making a change. And it's just weird how we have somebody like The Game that is saying something like this, but all his whole music career, rap, has been in essence that negative influence. Not for everybody, for a lot of people. I personally, if I know that anything that I say or anything that I do is going to be of negative influence to somebody, even if it's only for a few amount of people, I would rather not do it. I'm not going to be a stumbling block to people. But not everybody has this mindset. Not everybody reads a word or even know that we shouldn't be doing that type of stuff with one another if we're truly going to be of the faith. And I think as he starts to grow, as he's growing older and getting more mature and stuff like that, he's coming to realize, but when you haven't been in that or even in the Bible growing up, of course, that's not going to be something that's on the forefront of your mind. So again, not to get on The Game, but if there's another realization, it's a realization that a lot of the reasons that a lot of the men are doing the things that they do, the craziness that they're doing, the thuggery that they still keeping in touch with, the sleeping around with women that they keeping in touch with, and then the drugs that they still keeping in touch with, all these negative things, you essentially have made yourself an influence in that area. Same thing for Snoop Dogg. But as they get older, they start to realize they change their lives. They're not out here capping and trapping and stuff like that. They just living. But what we do with our lives is very important. Not only that, evaluating our lives and reflecting on our lives is also important, and we have to do that. Now, the last thing I want to bring up is very important, and it's what Matt Barnes had to say. Let's check it out.
That's good.
And I think being able to run your race,
That's good.
being a good person, and understand that the grass is greener where you water it. It's not always greener on the other side. It's where you put your time and your effort and your focus and your dedication. I'm someone who literally just, went through a separation at the beginning of this year, and I've been through all different types of counseling, but until I surrendered myself to the Word and to the Lord, it's starting to click.
I went through a whole bunch of different counseling, but until I surrendered myself to the Lord, that's when it started to click.
I'm in church every Sunday, I'm reading, but none of this would have happened until I really surrendered myself. So to me, it's running your race, understanding, where you put your time and effort in to get better, you'll continue, and then be a good person. I think we live in a crazy world today where it's just so much negativity and hate and separation more than I feel like we've been since we got here. So to be able to run your race and be a good person, and don't be afraid to ask for help. I think we're in a stage now, and this conversation showed you, don't be afraid to ask for help or talk to the homie or go get some professional help, because there's people out here that want to listen and want to help.
It's interesting. I didn't expect that from Matt Barnes. I didn't expect that. This I keep wanting to say interview. This whole meeting, there wasn't much talk in regards to church, in regards to faith, too much until this point. And it's crazy because he tried to slide that in really quick and bring it out. I mean, did he want to expand on it? I'm not too sure. But the interesting thing in regards to that is just like the situation with Nick Jones and the one TikToker lady that was, what was she? She was Catholic, and now she's kind of converting, but she was talking about the church. And the same thing with, again, Nick Jones and one of these female rappers that decided to, try to be a little more serious about her faith with God and Jesus. You are out in the public now. It's not just your friend group that is aware of what you're saying and what you're doing. It's not just your church that's aware of what you're saying and doing. And it's not even just a school. Thousands and thousands and millions of people know what you do, and they're going to see everything that you put out there. So the fact that he said that took a lot of courage, especially from a new believer, to go out and say, yes, I have been digging into the word, and yes, I have been going to church more, and yes, the second that I started to look towards Christ, things starting to make sense. When you're out in public like that, you're going to get people that's going to praise you, just like I am right now. I am thankful and I am glad that Matt Barnes, because I didn't expect Matt Barnes to do something like that. The stuff that he was talking about during this whole meetup of his past, that's the Matt Barnes that I knew. But for him to say this definitely caught me off guard. But it's a happy caught off guard. And this is just a warning, just like the other two ladies that came in contact or that, had the situation with Nick Jones. It's just preparation, because this is fresh. This episode is fresh. And people are going to say something about what he just said, whether it be regular average Joes like me or people in his clique, people in the sports industry and those above them, other celebrities. That part right there is probably going to go viral because Matt Barnes had confessed that he is a believer, and it's going to go both ways. It's going to be a lot of people like I said, it's going to be a lot of people like me that is giving praise to God that he sees the truth and that he's now a follower of Jesus. And then there's going to be a lot of people that's going to try clown him. The people of the world that's going to try clown him. The people of the world that's going to, try to bring him down. And even those that claim to be of the faith, just like with the other women, those that claim to be of the faith are also going to try and bring him down. Talk about he's not no real Christian. You see his life. You see what he did the other day. Look, guys, the thing that I've come to realize is that we, as Christians that full believers of the faith, we have to be patient with people and we have to give them grace. It's not Matt Barnes saying that, he's been a Christian his whole life. It's just now that he's taking things seriously, then yes, I expect a bigger change because you know what the word says, you know what it means and stuff like that. And of course, you're going to have your struggles. But this is a guy that's completely new to the faith, or based off of what he's saying, is new to the faith. So stuff like that is going to take time for him to, stop cussing. He cussed a couple times on this video. Him to stop sleeping around with women, that's going to take a lot. I mean, if that's something that he's been doing, just maybe going out and drinking, gossiping, stuff like that. All these things will take time. The more that he digs into the word, the more that he'll see, and then he'll be convicted on whether he wants to continue doing these things or not. But the fact that he is following Jesus is a very good step, and we need to give God praise for this situation. And not only that, to pray that he continues to learn more and that he continue to be an influence, and that try to slide in and then slide back out talking about his faith, because that was pretty quick if one wasn't paying attention. But don't worry, bro, I catch you, and hopefully this will go viral so that people can know that there are sports. You can be Christian and be in sports. There are plenty of Christians that are in sports. We don't have to sit here and just follow the way of the world. But anyways, guys, that's what I had in regards to this video. It was very interesting. And yeah, y'all can go ahead and check it out and let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Take it easy. Peace.